Welcome back to another episode of Tati's Tea Time, where you get the tea about Tati and you get to know how to cook something. So today, this was a requested video actually. So we're gonna learn how to make some rice and beans, Haitian style, of course, and it's better known as diri kole, and a lot of people love it. So I personally will be using dry pinto beans. You can use any kind of beans you want. This meal does not discriminate, so anything you want you can use. But for this video, I will be using pinto beans. So first things first, what I'm gonna do is pour in 2 cups of beans into boiling water. But honestly, you don't have to start off with boiling water. I just did that time. Now I'm gonna go ahead and add in a little bit of oil to the boiling water, and I do have 4 garlic cloves and a few pieces of thyme, and over there I do have scallions, better known as green onions sometimes. Just depends on how you speak, honestly. So after adding everything, you're gonna go ahead and cover it and let it boil all the way through. And as it's boiling, you're gonna wanna add water in between so that it does not burn and dry out, because you're gonna need water for the rice. So you have to make sure it's very watery. So this is me doing a test to see if it's cooked. Once it starts to mush between your fingers, then the beans are good to go cook with. So this is what I use in my rice. It looks a little extra, but I promise you it helps the taste. I have some green peppers. I have Scotch bonnet peppers or habanero peppers. I have more garlic cloves, more thyme. And I have some oil, butter. And then I have some scallions again, half an onion. And I have 2 cans of coconut milk. And I have Epis. I do have another Epis video. And this is my beans that I have going. So this is going to be everything that I'm going to use to make the rice. I chopped everything up and it's good. And so today's story is about one time in elementary school, I wanted to be thick. So I wore like 10 underwears. So I don't know what possessed me. I was maybe 9 or 10 years old, 3rd or 4th grade. And for some reason I wanted a bigger butt. So I just put on a bunch of underwear and I was trying to achieve my goal. And, it worked until it didn't, because not only was my butt bulgy, so were like my hips and like the front. So I was gardening with my stepmom and I was wearing some leggings and I was just standing there like I was wearing a big old diaper. And then she was like, what is going on? What is this? Like, why do you look like that? And I'm like what? And then she takes me inside and she pulls my pants down and she just sees me wearing all these underwears. And she's like, so this is why you never have any clean underwear. Now, mind you, after I took all these 10 panties off, I just put all of it into the hamper. So a normal 2 days worth of underwear for me was like 20 underwear, because I'm wearing 10 at a time. So 2 days later, 2 to 3 days later, I'm always complaining I don't have any clean underwear because I just put all of them into the hamper. Not smart. But then, she calls my dad and, and her, I'm just going to do my best to translate it from Creole to English because we're Haitian, and she said it in Creole. She called my dad. She was like, come here. Come look. This is why she never has clean underwear. Look what she's doing. She's wearing a bunch of underwear at one time. And my dad comes rushing in, dads, how they are with their daughters. My dad comes rushing in and, he looks at me all stern. And then, they had a conversation with me about how I should not wear a bunch of underwear at once, because that's not going to help anything. That's not going to help me do anything. So I was trying to understand, I let them know that I wanted to be thick and this is why I was doing it. But I don't really remember the conversation fully. But that is the time that I wore 10 panties in order to be thick. But anyways, back to the rice. I just I'm putting everything together. And at this point, it's just frying everything together and I'm kind of mixing in stuff like that. The cubes that I use, they're called Maggi. Any Haitian person would know, or Caribbean. I want to say Caribbean person would know the brand Maggi. But I'm just using the chicken. I'm not sure what word is this, but I think chicken bouillon cubes. But anyways, after you finish mixing the beans and all of the onions and peppers and garlic, we're just going to go ahead and add in the coconut milk, and we're just going to go ahead and let that pour in. All right, so once the coconut milk is like kind of, you let that get to a boil, I added the cloves to the habanero pepper or Scotch bonnet pepper, and I added the thyme, and I added some butter. And this is gonna be the water for the rice. And at that point, you're just gonna have to kind of do a taste test. You have to season it and stuff. I'm adding a little bit more salt. So at that point, this is where you would add more seasoning if need be. You're just gonna taste it. You just have to make sure that you add your seasoning before the rice. So I'm using the rice called Madame Gugu's. That's the brand I'm using at the moment. But honestly, I just like to use jasmine rice. Any jasmine rice I will use. So I'm gonna go ahead and add in about, how much cups did I add? 1, 2, 3. Of course I can count. I don't know, I'm counting. 4. But I personally, I don't really wash my rice. It's up to you if you want to wash it or not. But I added 4 cups of rice to the water. And honestly speaking, you always want to have more rice than water, because you don't want your rice to come out like sticky. So by the time like your rice is almost drained of water, make sure it's not cooked. Your rice has to be a little bit undercooked, because we're gonna let the steam finish cooking it out, so it's not sticky. I like my rice to be grainy. I like it for it to be a little fluffy. I really hope I'm explaining this right, but never let your rice be fully cooked while there's water in it, because it's gonna make it so sticky and disgusting. So the goal is, the most important thing is to let the steam finish cooking your rice out. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use bags to let the steam be trapped in there. So by the time I put the bag on there, the rice is not all the way cooked. So now you just kind of put it on 4, like medium, not medium. Medium is too high. You put it on like 4 or low, and you just kind of let the steam finish cooking your rice out for you. As you can see, the rice is almost done, but it's not quite done. So I'm gonna let it steam out a little bit more. And it looks like the rice is done. You could do a taste test or whatever you need to do, but never ever, like, that is a law, never let your rice finish cooking while there's water in there. Your rice is gonna be nasty. It's gonna be mushy. I mean, some people like mushy rice, but me personally, if your rice is mushy, no, I don't want it. Let it stay away from me. But that's basically it. And at that point, you just kind of stirring in. I like the color. This is actually one of my favorite types of rice. I like the black rice as well, the mushroom rice. It's really good. But ever since I was a kid, I've always loved pinto beans rice. And this is basically it. You could put the rice with anything that you want, any size that you desire. But this is it, guys. This is just how you make Haitian rice. I'm gonna have the ingredients in the description. I'm gonna have it in the description, but this is it. This is just me plating it, being extra, being a little fancy. I put the bell pepper on top. It's just pretty to look at. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of Tati's Tea Time. I have more stories and I have more ingredients, of course. Well, I mean recipes. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys on another episode. Have a good rest of your day. Be blessed.